Hi YouTubers and gamers, my name's Elise, and I don't really have a good intro for today, so I guess I'm just gonna dive into what I want to say. Basically, all I have to ask is, did you see the Microsoft press release? Microsoft, I guess, is going to be making a couple of changes to their Xbox One regarding some of their DRM policies. So essentially they've changed two things. One is apparently we will no longer be required to connect to the internet once every 24 hours to play our games. So that means we can play our offline games for as long as we want now. And secondly, as far as selling and trading games and all of that stuff, it'll basically work the same way that it does today. So no more downloading the game, getting a license for it, having it installed and connected to your account. It's going to work just as it does today. So, it looks like Microsoft is trying to give people what they want to some degree based on the level of complaints probably. Interestingly, so far this has had mixed reactions. There are some people that surprisingly are saying that they would have preferred the DRM policies, which is interesting to me because, where were these people before Microsoft tried to make changes? You didn't really hear a lot of people defending DRM before. These people who would rather have these DRM policies in place say that they would have preferred to have downloadable games and games connected to their account with the limited trading and selling options and not have to deal with physical discs if they didn't want to, over being able to trade and sell games freely but having to use a physical disc. And they believe that if the DRM policies had been kept in place, that with the limited trading and selling options attached to that, that would have driven prices down on new games actually, so that things would start to look a little bit more like Steam. There are others that argue that's not true, and I'm gonna have to side with the skeptics here. I really don't necessarily believe that the DRM policies would have driven prices down at all. There's games right now that you can download for your Xbox 360, and those are $60 games, which is not cheap. So, just because they're downloadable and don't require a disc and you can't resell them doesn't mean they're going to be cheaper. Also, interestingly, although it seems like a lot of us gamers got what we wanted from Microsoft, they made some of the changes that we said we wanted, there's a lot of people out there that are saying that that's not good enough because they are still upset with Microsoft, and they're basically upset with the attitude that Microsoft has had towards its customers, and they're not sure if they can really trust what Microsoft says, right? I'm sure there's people out there that are ultimately happy with the changes, but I mean, it's not like, oh, Microsoft made these changes, everything's fixed, I changed my mind, now I want the Xbox One. Like, I personally think, and this is very much my own opinion, I like the changes that Microsoft has made. Although there were other reasons, if you watched my last video, why I was leaning towards the PS4, besides just those two things. A big thing being that the PS4 is still cheaper. So overall, even with the changes, I'm still leaning towards PS4, although not as strongly now that I see that things can change. So I think the main thing that everyone should learn from this ultimately is that obviously changes can be made, and the way that Sony and Microsoft say that their consoles are supposed to be when they come out on the release date is not necessarily how they're actually going to be. Obviously the war is not over between the two consoles, so I would say if you haven't pre-ordered a console yet, don't make any final decisions. I'd say rather, just sit back, watch things unfold, bring some popcorn. I know that's what I'm going to be doing. So yeah. So that's it for my blog post. Bye guys.